We're going to get into prevailing wages now. The prevailing wage determination is your guide map to almost everything you need to know about paying the correct wages, including, right, amount of wages, overtime, premium. What does premium pay? What if you work 20 hours during the week and then you got to go out and work on a Saturday? Is that overtime? It's premium pay. You're not overtime. Overtime's anything over 8 hours per day, under 40 hours per week on a state of California. You still got to pay what they call overtime on the wage determination, but technically it's premium pay. Because under 1813 labor code, it's anything over 8 hours and or 40. So that's what premium pay rates are. Fringe benefits, everyone understands fringe benefits: health, welfare, pension, vacation, training fund contributions if the craft is apprenticeable, holidays, travel and subs, scope of work, and predetermined increases. That's what the prevailing wage will give you, right? You must read the determination completely and carefully, including the footnotes. Who looks at the footnotes? Anybody? Can anybody tell me the travel and sub for your trade craft classification? Anyone aware of that? Did you know you have to look at that and determine where your workers are coming from to see if you owe your workers any travel and subsistence payments? Is everyone aware of that? Are you aware that under the different types of trade craft and classifications, you can work on a Saturday without paying premium pay? Everyone's aware of that? This is what you're learning here. Are you aware that some of you guys, some of your trade crafts or classifications, your trade may be able to work 8 hours straight time, 4 hours overtime, anything double time. You may be 8 hours straight time, 2 hours time and a half, and then everything double time. Some of you may be able to work on a Saturday for, I don't know, 16 hours at premium pay, and then anything after that is double time. Everything is different, and a lot of people don't take advantage of what you can or can't do with your trade craft or classification on a public works project. Well, so there may be some PLA requirements. There may be a project with local hire, outreach, and that stuff where if I'm going to utilize a worker, they've got to be from the 92019 zip code thing. So don't mistake zip code living requirements with travel and subsistence for sure. So I'm not kidding you. A travel and subsistence may be you owe somebody travel and subsistence if they live 5 miles from the library of the town that your office is in, but if they're 7 miles past the LA River, it's not counted unless you're down Burbank and over the river, then it is counted, and you must go from the local post office. And if that's the case, it could be 50 miles from that post office. But if you're not near the post office, you have to go from the near, I'm not kidding you, it's that convoluted. Has anyone dealt with that? Holy cow. The union guys, so we know this is taken from the union collective bargaining agreements, and 9 times out of 10, they don't even know how to interpret it. Some are real easy, some are not. You may be paying a per diem rate of $50 a day, and you may owe them something different. You may have to put them up in a hotel. So it can go to the point of, are you providing a truck? Are you providing, are they driving themselves? Where do they have to meet? Are they meeting at your location here and driving together there? Is a job site there? I mean, this one could be a full day interpretation of travel and sub. Yeah, am I right? Yeah, I mean, it's not easy. So that's why I warn you, pay attention to travel and sub and try to do the best you can. And if you don't know, call the union and ask them. Who trumps who? I'm a union member, and my collective bargaining agreement or master labor agreement says I must do A. The prevailing wage says I must do B. What do? You got to do both, but B always trumps A, right? The prevailing wage statutes will always trump the requirements of your MLA, collective bargaining agreement, or what your requirement to the union is. Now, that being said, you may have a specific union requirement that you have to meet because you have an agreement with that union. But if it's different than what is required under the prevailing wage, you got to follow the prevailing wage. The prevailing wage is only a minimum wage, okay? So you could be on the same job, doing the same task, and you may be paying your carpenters $30 an hour because you are non-union and you are following the exact requirements of the prevailing wage. The union may tell you, hey, you signed with us, it may be $30, but that was a 2012 and it is now 2016 and you're at $36 an hour. And that's a union issue, not a prevailing wage issue. All we'll care about, all the airport will care about, all anyone will care about is that you are paying what is required under the prevailing wage statute. Does that make sense to everybody? Project labor agreement. Everyone knows what a project labor agreement is? Project labor agreement is an agreement between an awarding agency and the building trades to ensure that the project will run smoothly and that they will have union work on the job. So PLA may have different rules and requirements, but technically a PLA shouldn't trump what a prevailing wage says. So they may say, so what they told you was, this project is covered under the PLA, this one may not be. So under the PLA, you have to meet a different requirement, like she said, with zip codes, stuff like that. Does anybody know who that is right there? Kevin Bacon, right? Do you know what's that picture is made of? Bacon. Yeah. Do you know what? That's gross. There you go. Do you know why that says no bacon here? No, this is state. No Davis Bacon right here, right? Yeah, there you go. 3 degrees of separation. Kevin Bacon made a bacon. No Davis Bacon. Right? Boom. Prevailing wage rates. How you determine the California prevailing wage rate. Step 1, know the project's bid add date. Step 2, -1 versus -2. Example 2013-1, 2013-2. Everyone understands that the wage rates change on February 22nd and August 22nd, right? 222 and 822, issuance date, rates are released by the DIR. 10 days later, they're the effective date. And 3, 4, and 9-1 are technically the dates, depending on leap year and all the above. If the bid out is before the effective date, use the previous determination period. Example, if it's 8/26 after 8/22, you still use the past wage determination, right? The wage rates change February 22nd, August 22nd. 10-day period. Does anyone know why they have that 10-day period in there? And it would take 10 days from basically where they were mailing it to get to everywhere in the state. So they couldn't issue wages on 8/22 and expect you to know them because they had to mail them to you, and then you had to post them. So that's why you have that 10 days. So it's the same every year. On 8/22, 10 days later, it changes to the 20 whatever dash one. On 2/22, it changes to the 1, 8/22 to the 2. The next year, it changes back to the 1 and then to the 2, right? So February 22nd, 2015, 10 days later is a 2015-1 wage rates. 8/22, 2015 is the issuance. 10 days later is a 2015-2 wage rates. 2/22, 2016, 10 days later after the issuance, is a 2016-1 wage rates, and so on. Does that make sense? Right? I got to tell you, this confuses everybody. It confuses the heck out of everybody. I get so many people calling me saying, wage rates changed in June. I have to take care of it. And I'm like, no. The determination expiration may have changed in June, but the wage rates didn't change, right? After you've done that, you got to get the determination. Your trades fall into different steps on the DIR website. Everyone's aware of the different steps, right? Statewide, some of your basic guys are iron worker, metal roofing, driver on-haul, off-haul. You've got Southern California, which if you're working in LA or Imperial or some of these places, you'll use the SoCal rates. Then you have the San Diego County trades, which is San Diego County has their own set of wages that are applicable to work being done in San Diego County. Understanding that in Southern California wage rates, there may be some wage rates there that are applicable to work being done in San Diego. So if you are a carpenter fence builder, you're probably going to find your wage rate in Southern California because it will cover San Diego, right? Everyone understands what I'm saying? You got the basic drop downs there, and we're going to go to there. Then you got the county specific trades. Predetermined increase. If your trade crafter classification has a single asterisk, that rate is good for the life of the project. So if we advertise for bid right now, and it is a single asterisk, and let's see, what's today? Today is the 2016-2 wage rates, right? These wage rates that you have there will be applicable for the life of the project. If this project goes on for 20 years, and you have a single asterisk, and it's not rebid or anything like that, or any funky stuff, that wage rate is good for the life of the project. If there's a double asterisk, that means there was a predetermined increase, and you must follow the predetermined increase. Who knows the difference between a single and a double asterisk? That's pretty simple, right? Who knows the difference between the next wage rate and the predetermined increase? Everyone aware of a predetermined increase? Is that throwing anybody off what a predetermined increase is? If you go to the 2016-2 wage rates, right, which we're on now, and February 22nd comes up and you have a double asterisk, are you going to go to the February 22nd wages and keep going? No. You will go to the predetermined increase, because the collective bargaining agreement and or the wage rates for your trade, craft, or classification increases have already been predetermined. So you will only have to follow those predetermined increases until they stop. There may be 1, there may be 2, there may be 3, there may be 5. You follow the predetermined increase. You do not go to the next wage determination. That being said, is everyone signed up to the State of California DIR notification to get those emails when an important notice is issued? You should probably go online and sign up for that. You get a great email saying, hey, this wage rate has been amended, this has been changed, because sometimes those predetermined increases will have an amendment, and you have to follow that amendment. You got to understand the rate sheets, and we're going to look at the rate sheets, but some things to understand. You know, your basic hourly rate may be reduced if union benefits package makes it up, and that's very limited. You got to know about your vacation, your pension, other training, overtime rates, footnotes, and any special notices, which I just talked about, which are corrections, modifications, and interim determinations. Everyone knows this is put on by the San Diego Community College District and PTAC. Everyone aware of PTAC? The San Diego Contracting Opportunity Center, down, I think, now out of National City or Chula Vista. Wonderful organization for information, training, and assistance in bidding on and winning public works contracts. I would recommend, if you want to get more information and or trained on anything and everything, Rachel Fisher is their director. They're a wonderful organization. We work with them as much as we possibly can, and they'll give you great information and help you be successful in the public works arena. And I think they're free. I didn't say the name. It's PTAC, PTAC, or SDCOC. We'll have Rachel come in and give you your information prior to we're done. So we're going to go, I'm going to show you a little bit about the prevailing wage rates. Click on Public Works Projects. Click on Contractors. So Public Works Contractors, this is a website. Register as a Public Works Contractor, pay prevailing wage, follow the apprenticeship requirements, maintain and submit certified payroll records. And we're going to get into apprenticeship here as we go. You're going to click on Pay Prevailing Wage. And then we got the Directors General Prevailing Wage Determinations. These are the new ones. 2016-1, apprenticeship regular rates, apprenticeship rates, superseded prevailing wage determinations. Do you know what that is? Those are the old ones, the 13-1, 13-2, 14-1, 14-2. Residential prevailing wage determination. Who does residential work here for state jobs? There's some special residential prevailing wage determinations to utilize. They have to meet some pretty strict requirements to utilize them. Then we have some important notices. These important notices are important changes about wage determinations, trade crafts or classifications, and or anything that the DIR or the DLSC wants you to know. Then we've talked about offsite fabrication. Who does offsite work? This is a question I get asked all the time. Is offsite work covered work under the State of California prevailing wage rules and regulations? Offsite fabrication and work on a State of California prevailing wage project is not covered work. So, of course, always exceptions, right? Number one, it's got to be set up for this project. Number two, no other material work and or anything can go through that site that does not have anything to do with that project. Number three, it normally has to be shut down at the end of the project. So if I'm going to do 1,000 widgets for this building and I rent the building across the street or down, 5 miles down, and I just manufacture those widgets only for this job and I'm done at the end, then it could be covered work. And I say it could be because there's some legislation, there's some legal stuff going on about it. But the minute Yolanda comes in and says, hey, I need one widget for my airport project, right? And that widget comes through, it's no longer covered. Frequently asked questions for offsite hauling, and still have questions on prevailing wage, click on that, and there's frequently asked questions there. So you're going to click on 2016-1 General Prevailing Wage Determination Journeyman, and here's what you're going to get. Right? So this is like, let's say in this one, you're going to get statewide, NoCal, SoCal, San Diego, and we go down to step 4, choose a county. Please note there's a couple additional steps for when you work at night, shift differential, and that as well. But again, if we go too deep into it here today, you're going to be walking away going, oh my gosh, too much. So if any of you are working on a shift differential and or some sort of special project, there may be another step 5 that you need to look down there that may or may not have shift differential requirements to pay your employees. So let's see. So we go back there. I'm going to click on San Diego, and this is what pops up. 2016-1 San Diego Basic Trade Journeyman. You can see down here you've got your basic trades going down there. You got building construction inspector. You've got carpenter, cement mason, holiday scope of work, travel and subsistence. Let's see if these things are poking up. Yeah, there we go. So we've got the trade or the classification that you'll be looking at there. Now there's sub-classifications under these classifications, right? So let's say you're a carpenter, and then there's a terrazzo installer, there's a carpenter building construction, there's a carpenter, what is that? What's the other one? Engineering, light commercial, yeah, there are some underneath it, but that's the general one. Then we've got, as I told you about the predetermined increase, right? There are the predetermined increase. So you can see if these are the wage rates that are applicable to your trade craft or classification. If you're a building construction inspector, you don't have an increase. This is your wage rate for the life of the project. If you're a carpenter, there's an increase. So instead of going to the 2016-2 wage rates, you're going to click on that carpenter increase and follow the predetermined increases for your trade craft or classification. And then right there, you asked me where you could find travel and subsistence. Right under there, holidays, scope of work, travel and subsistence. You got to know the holidays for your trade craft or classification, because the airport people will tell you, you guys could be 3 different classifications. You may celebrate Memorial Day, you may not. You may celebrate it on the Monday before the Friday, or there's a lot of things going on with holidays, so you need to make sure you understand that. If you ever wonder what scope of work you need to do, so let's say, you know, I think I'm a carpenter, but I'm not sure if it fits, the work I'm doing fits under the carpenter scope. You can go on there and get the scope of work on there, and it'll tell you exactly what carpenters do. Now let's be clear, it's not going to give you a ton of information, but it should give you enough to get you where you need to go, and then it'll give you a travel and subsistence information. So this is a labor and related classifications for San Diego County. This is labor building construction. Now you know San Diego County has building construction wage rates. Is everyone familiar with that? Building construction wage rates are set up for when you do work on a building. They're not heavy highway engineering. So a pound sign in front of the craft means it's an apprenticeable trade craft or classification. You must make a good faith effort to hire, train, employ apprentices within that trade craft or classification. Single asterisk, no increase for the entire project. Double means there's a predetermined increase, and you must follow that increase. This throws people off. This is single asterisk, right? June 30th, 2016, single asterisk, effective until superseded by a new determination issued by the Director of Industrial Relations. Single asterisk, good for the life, but right there it says effective until superseded. Does that mean that there's a predetermined increase or this wage rate is going to be superseded? It means A, no, there is no predetermined increase, but yeah, it's going to be superseded, but it won't be applicable to you because at the time of your bid, you had a single asterisk. That's all you need to worry about. People read that all the time and say, no, I had to keep going. You do not have to keep going. It is a single asterisk and you're good for it. Fringe benefits, they may be paid in any manner as long as they add up correctly, except for training which is paid to the CAC or trust unless it's a non-apprenticeable trade or craft. Everyone knows about training, right? Everyone pays training. So I'll tell you a little bit about fringe benefits. Fringe benefits are, you got your basic hourly rate, you got total hourly rate, your fringe benefits in between. These fringe benefits basically mirror the union collective bargaining agreement. If you were a union member and or signatory to a training organization such as the ABC, the AGC, or META, or one of those guys, then you will pay your benefits how you are required to under your collective bargaining agreement, as long as they add up to and or are more than what is shown on the prevailing wage determination. Now, we don't care how you pay your benefits, and I don't know if the airport cares. The only thing we care about is A, it's paid to a bona fide third-party program. B, it's a benefit to the employee, so it must be beneficial to the employee to take credit for that. And C, you can show proof that you are paying into that. You must be able to show proof via canceled check or some sort of proof that that is being paid. Training you can pay to the union, AGC, ABC, and or the state of California. The base rate plus the employer payments need to equal up to your total hourly rate there. Does that make sense to everybody? So does anyone have a supplemental unemployment benefit plan, subplan? Anyone know what that is? Nobody has a subplan? Subplan is a big thing now that contractors use. Basically, so if your guys and gals don't get the 40 hours during the week, they take the credit against the benefits and put it into basically an account for you that it's basically an unemployment account that you can draw money from if you don't make your 40 hours. So again, everybody may or may not be paying these differently. You just got to make sure your basic hourly rate is correct. The fringe benefits add up to the correct amount, and you're paying the total hourly rate as a minimum wage. Does that make sense to everybody? Did I throw anybody off there? Read the small print, varies per trade. Remember I said there's some A's and B's and all the above. A, Saturdays in the same work week may be worked at straight time rate for the first 8 hours if the employee was unable to complete the 40 hours during the normal work week. So if you're a laborer under this trade craft or classification for this determination, it looks like on a Saturday, if you only work 32 hours during the work week, that Saturday can be paid at straight time. Everyone has a different footnote, and not all of them are the same. Some will say Saturdays in the same work week may be it may be paid at straight time if employee was unable to complete the 40 hours during the work week due to inclement weather and or circumstances beyond the control of the employer, such as supplies not showing up or something like that. Now, believe me, everybody's tried everything, okay? We had a contractor who had a Christmas party, and they all went out and had a great time, and they were all too hungover to come to work on Friday. So guess what? They worked Saturday at straight time and sent me a letter saying it was beyond our control. And we said, no, that's not beyond your control, okay? If you have any questions about how to compute that and how to understand it, please reach out to me and we can discuss it. I'm not trying to get around this stuff. It's just really convoluted on how to calculate overtime, such as like a lot of people think if I work at a public works in the morning and a private in the afternoon, and then the overtime is at the private job, I pay the private. No, there is a ratio you must follow. There's a calculation you must follow. It's very convoluted. Yeah. So if anybody wants to have an offline discussion about calculating that, call me and I'd be glad to spend time going through it. The Public Works Manual is a great tool to use. And if you need help, there's things such as the PTAC here who can walk you through it. There's the Center for Contract Compliance who can help you, which is a laborers union. I mean, there's a Foundation for Fair Contracting. There's watchdogs and there's groups throughout the state that can offer you some sort of assistance. So if you're going to work on San Diego Airport, you're going to call Yolanda's team and get that information. If you're going to work on City of San Diego, you're going to call their Equal Opportunity Contracting Program and get that information. If you're going to work San Diego Housing Corporation, San Diego Housing Commission, you're going to call Cherie. If you're going to work for Camp Pendleton, you're going to call the ROIC officer. Yeah. So those are authority. But if you want like in-depth information, because the airport, you're going to get good information. Some of the awarding agencies may not give you the best information. They're just going to give you what they think you should do on their project, which may not be the same on mine or theirs. So yeah, so that Public Works Manual is the way to go. Yeah. So I always say start with the manual, and then the ABC, the Association of Building Contractors, they have classes. The AGC puts on classes. There's classes like this all the time that you can follow and go and learn. The DIR puts on classes every now and then. So there are places you can go to get the information. But I always say start with that manual And yeah, it's a little vague in places, but it'll get you started and it'll give you a framework of what you need to know. Yeah. This is subtrades right here. Everyone understands subtrades. When you click on box 4, you're going to click San Diego location, and you're going to get this right here. These are the subtrades. You can see bricklayer, brick tender. It's the exact same information you're going to get on the regular wage determinations. It's just laid out in a different manner. It's in an Excel format. At the bottom, you're going to see the 2016-1 footnotes, predetermined increases, and I put it a little bit closer up there. You can see electrician, inside wireman, 822.15 on 6/5/16. There's a predetermined increase, and across the right-hand side, you'll see the holiday scope of work, travel and sub, in the increase. Let me see if these things pop up. So you can still see the scope of work, and what I've done is the top is what it looks like, and I've kind of raised it up for you to see. There's a resilient tile layer. You can follow the predetermined increase there, and that will give you the predetermined increase for this trade craft or classification under the sub-trades. Now, these are called sub-trades, but I've always wondered about that because they're not really. They're like the bigger trades, bricklayer, electrician, some of the more important things, but they call it sub-trades because it's not necessarily the general contractor type trades. They're the subs that come in and do the work, bricklaying and stuff like that. They're not your carpenters or your laborers, or your operating engineers. The general contractors, the A licensed guys will have those types of workers, and you guys will too, but they always call these the sub-trades because technically these are coming in as subcontractors to do the work. Any questions about this one here? No? Am I going too fast, too slow? Am I boring you to tears? Nobody? Not yet? Question. I've been told a non-working superintendent has to be on certified payroll if she is on site, regardless of what she is doing. Is this true? Everyone understand this question? So I'm a non-working superintendent. I walk around the job site and I say, hey, good job. This needs to be fixed here. Hey, Adam, I want you to run to Walmart and pick up some supplies or whatever, but I don't add any intrinsic value to the job. I don't pick up a hammer. I don't do anything like that. I'm merely, in essence, a project manager. Would they need to be on certified payroll? If you don't add any intrinsic value to the job and you're not working on the job, no. You don't have to be on certified payroll because you're not a tradesman or craftsperson on site. Now, I'm a non-working superintendent, and I see my guy Adam here putting in some bad foundation, and I'm like, oh my gosh, give me this right here. And then I start doing it for an hour, hour and a half. I'm like, okay, that's how we do it here, Adam, good. Am I now a prevailing wage employee? Yeah. You picked up and did work. And some people, some agencies will say, or labor compliance firms will tell you, it was incidental to the work being performed. Don't worry about it. It's only half an hour here, half an hour there. Well, guess what? A half an hour a day for a year job adds up to a lot of wages and a lot of money that may or may not be paid. And workers have a long memory about what they've done on a public works project. And they will never tell you what was wrong until you lay them off, you fire them, or they need that money. Right? So basically what I'm telling you is, if it's not working, not on certified payroll, but you've got to educate your non-working superintendents and or anyone who's going to be on site about that. And if you're going to do work, you've got to do it. Now, is it the same for every agency? Carmen? No. Why? San Diego Unified wants to see them on there, right? Yeah. San Diego Unified wants to see your non-working superintendents, on-site people on there. And so we can go down this rabbit hole, right? Because you've got 4 tradespeople on site working, and you've got me as your non-working superintendent. You do a daily report that shows 4 people, the IOR, inspector of record, and or a delegate of that a school district comes out and counts 5 of you out there. And now all of a sudden you've got non-matching documentation, right? And what does that mean? That means somebody's thinking you're underreporting your working hours on a public works project. How do you prove a negative? That's going to be the tough part. So, again, buyer beware. Talk to the agency, see what they want to see on there, see if they want to see them on there. Can you put them on there if you want? I think you can, yeah. as long as you're showing it correctly and the hours are correctly, and that there isn't any overlap on holidays or something like that. So again, the correct answer is no. Prevailing wage, public works, certified payroll is for workers only. You got a delivery driver. I'm Jill Smith. I pick up, Adam calls me and says, I need some 2x4 on site. Drive out on site, stay in my truck. Adam's crew comes, takes it off, and I drive away. 9 times out of 10, that's going to be interpreted as non-prevailing wage. There may be an agency who wants you to report all that, quite frankly. We've seen that. I come up there, and then I get off the truck, and I start unloading the 2x4s and moving them and stuff. Then that comes into prevailing wage. Yeah. I would recommend you go on the website and look at the on-haul, off-haul, and all the rules and regulations that pertain to that. We can go on. He's going to tell me electrical noise are delivered. You're going to tell me faucets are delivered. You're going to tell me, widgets are delivered. You understand what I'm getting at? I say buyer beware again. Technically, if you utilize a temp agency, you, as the contractor who hires them, are covering them under your DAS 140 and 142. So you need to know that.